All right, we're on day 6, and this is in Anchorage, Alaska. Tuesday, May the 15th, 2012 at 8:29 a.m. If you're listening to this, you need to understand I'm reading a trial transcript, and it's got a lot of extraneous stuff in it. And not only that, but it's a transcript of a live conversation that happened in court, and it's awkward. I mean, even when it's written, it's awkward. It's written because when the prosecutor interrupts the witness, they don't try to write it such that it looks like it wasn't interrupted. It's if you've never read a trial transcript before, you may not understand what I'm talking about. But if you have read a trial transcript before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like I'll be talking and then somebody interrupts me, and then the court reporter puts the words right in the middle of my sentence, and then it records the fact that I started talking after I was interrupted, and then she interrupted me again. Anyway, here we go. And I'm trying to read this as fast as I can because we got 23 days to go. And I'm supposed to be keeping track of the lies now that I'm on day 6 and Schaefer said to keep track of the lies. But I don't know, I don't have the recordings, the audio recordings that the prosecution had, so that's going to be a little difficult for me. But anyway, let's get started. All rise as honored. The court, the United States District Court for District of Alaska is now in session. The Honorable Robert J. Bryan presiding. Please be seated. Good morning. Good morning, Your Honor. I'm my assistant there found a local blog all about the trial, including pictures. I'm going to change my hairdo, I think. My assistant there found a local blog about our trial, including pictures. I'm going to change my hairdo, I think. Are we ready to proceed this morning? Ms. Lamoureux, yeah. Matter, Your Honor, we had Mr. Dooley, a report that jurors could see Ms. Lamoureux's... I'm sorry, you got to talk louder. We had a report that the jurors or a juror could see Ms. Lamoureux's monitor and thought we could probably get it turned a little more toward Mr. Scrocky. Fair enough. Think that's okay? I think that's about the best. Turn it more if you need to. How did you get that information, Mr. Dooley? From one of the supporters here. I think it was Mae Barney, who isn't in here right now, and she had seen the juror craning her neck. Oh, okay. The fellow that's sitting where Mr. Scrocky is, maybe he could move our table back. No, you can't move the table back, sorry. Your Honor, we might just have to keep an eye on that works. Or we could admonish the jury to... No, we don't want to admonish. You don't want to admonish the jury because that will look like a defense. Just keep it twisted so that they can't see. This works. Okay, anything else? I just asked, Your Honor, with respect to today, I just need a few minutes before Mr. Anderson testifies. As I understand, he's going to testify. I got a new report from the government. I want to have time to integrate it into my case today. When he's coming up after Mr. Wilson. Well, I don't want to take the jury time for this stuff if we could possibly avoid it. So let's move ahead and get there where we're going to be as quick as we can, and if you got a problem, ask for a break. Ready? Yes, sir. I don't think we'll get this to cross before lunchtime. Oh, okay. Okay, thanks. Where's our witness in the hallway? David Allen Wilson, plaintiff's witness, resumes to stand. Good morning. All be seated, please. How you doing today? Alternative juror number 2 name. Better? Good. Okay. We will continue with the direct of Sergeant Wilson. Good morning, Sergeant Wilson. Morning. Yesterday when we left off, we were discussing your examination of the white iPhone in February of 2011 that was identified as Schaefer's iPhone, and we're going through those notes that are admitted as government exhibit number 794. Yes. If you could just provide a brief summary again to the jury regarding how those notes in the iPhone work. What are the notes section? The notes are an application on the front page of the iPhone when they're first shipped to the consumer who purchased it. They're a little icon that says notes, and it looks kind of like a memo sticky note kind of thing, like the post-it notes you see a lot in the offices. And when the post-it notes, and when you click on it, it has the ability to act kind of like a word processor, very limited. You can type all kinds of things in there. You can even paste things into there from an email or a text message, or you can copy stuff out of there, paste into emails, text messages, that sort of thing. So it's generally kind of very simple word processor intended, I think, by the developers to just provide a quick and easy way to write things down for the user of the phone. Great. Lamoureux, if we could go back to Exhibit 794, please. If we could have lights, Madam Clerk, if we could have page 20, please. Madam Clerk, are you able to check to see whether everything is connected? I believe it is. Did you unblank the screen? The power's on to the Lamro, and maybe while we're working on that, we can go ahead and show you what's been admitted to Exhibit 557. That has been admitted. It is an iPhone that has been seized from Mr. Thiesing's residence on March 10th, 2011. Do you recognize that phone? I do. And did you do an examination of that iPhone? Yes, I did. And how did you do that examination? The examination was I used the Celebrite UFED Physical Pro on this examination and produced a report from the Physical Pro, and that was, again, the updated version of the Celebrite UFED device. And you used today. They followed the same protocols you described today in terms of preserving the evidence, removing the SIM card. Yes, I did. I do that with every examination. Were you able to identify what the phone number is for that iPhone? Yes, it was 978-4299 on this phone. And how did the phone identify itself? It was called in the software that's on the iPhone, Liberty Bell iPhone. Miss Lamro, at this point we have a number of items to try to display to the jury, and my understanding is there are still some tech. We have someone from IT coming down, technology delays. Maybe we could go ahead and hand you, do you have, going back to the February 2011 iPhone, do you have Exhibit 794 there with you? It's not up on the, here we go, thank you. If you could go ahead and turn to page 20, the clerk, Madam Clerk, if we could have the lights, we'll just have the witness read the text of the notes to the jury. The page numbers on this page are different, right? And so if you look at the bottom, it should have a page 20. Okay, I'm there. And is there a line 1517? Yes, to the, sorry, what does the first line say? To the troublemakers in government. And there's a semicolon, yes. Okay, if you could go ahead and read the line to the bottom of the page, that'd be great. Certainly. To the troublemakers in government, stop trying to provoke an incident with the militia. You've been watching at least as close as you've been watching us. Some of you are no different than trigger-happy cowboys we have to kick out of the militia. You just want a reason to go win a shootout. You are trying to push me into giving the order to fight by threatening my sweet wife and innocent son. If you fellows with the FBI and the U.S. Marshals want a big old blowout, I wish you could just call me and put it on the calendar. Do you think it seems a bit goofy to have the FBI and U.S. Marshals in a routine make sure a baby is okay case? Nobody will think that you are in the right if you go after women and children, and you won't be. And if you sucker the OCS goals into the middle of this, that will be on your conscience too. They may be confused about whether or not children are property of the state, but they aren't as sinister as some of you boys in the federal beehives shacking squad up from the states. We don't want to attack you guys, so don't attack us. If you did get cornered into a fight, we'd probably lose. If we did get cornered into a fight, we'd probably lose, but for each one of us you'd kill, you'd make 1,000 people willing to kill you and yours who weren't before. Do the math, Columbo. Who's the real loser? You better be off to work on ice cream truck just so you could drive around making friends all day. Don't be. If you could, okay, is there more? There's parts of a sentence that remains. You don't need to read that part of the sentence. Can you just flip to the end and let us know if there's a name signing off at the end of the note? At the very bottom of page 21 on the marking here, it says, it ends with Schaefer Cox, husband, father, patriot, 590-9903, and the words, it's taped after that. It's taped or tapped? It says taped. It's 1P. Okay, yes, it's 1P. Let me go ahead and show you what's marked for identification of Government Exhibit 800. You just indicated that you did examination of the Liberty Bell iPhone as well. Is that correct? That's correct, yes. And when did you do the examination? Was it in March of 2011? It was March of 2011. I don't know the exact date. If you look at the Exhibit 800 there, do you have that in front of you? I do. Do you recognize that? Yes, and it has the extraction date and time on here. So it was March 17th of 2011, and what? What is Exhibit 800? This is the extraction report from the UFED Physical Pro on the Liberty Bell. The government offers Exhibit 800. Can I see that? Can I see that actual? Lamro, it should be in your binder. Is this the, are you talking about this whole thing, the one we talked about yesterday? No, it's Exhibit 800. Okay, I don't have that. It should be in your binder, but you can retrieve it from the witness. Any objection to 800? Traverso, no objection, Your Honor. Duly, no objection. The court, it may be admitted. If we could have the lights, Madam Clerk. So what are we looking at here in the Government Exhibit 800? That's the extraction report of the UFED Physical Pro when the examination was conducted on the Liberty Bell iPhone. And it's a pretty long report, a lot more extensive than just the basic UFED report. And it indicates it's 38 pages long. Is that correct? At the top, yes, 38. Yeah, okay, what's some of the basic, you've just got basic information here first on about the iPhone. Is that, What's reflected on the first page? Yeah, it's talking about the date and time, manufacturer, serial number, that sort of thing, examiner name, and my permit identifier with the state of Alaska, DAWO, and location Fairbanks. Okay, Lamro, if we can go ahead and jump to page 12, what are we looking at there? I can't see it well on my screen, so I'm going to page 12 in the actual report here. Okay, there are contacts that were contacted, extracted from the phone with telephone numbers and names. And do you see the name of Schaefer Cox on there? I do. In line 45, it says Schaefer Cox, 907-590-9903. And below that, it has the words Liberty Bell underneath his name. So still in the same block with his name, but also says Liberty Bell. Yes, it does. Lamro, if we could jump now to page 31. What are we looking at here? These are the raw data from the notes application. Okay, so we were looking at Exhibit 794. Previously, you indicated you imported the notes into a bank iPhone so the notes would appear as if they did in the iPhone, right? Correct. What is this here? This is different. This isn't the notes displayed from a blank iPhone. This is the notes displayed from the actual report that was built by the UFED Physical Pro software. So when you talk about the presentation, how sometimes it's difficult to read them in the UFED report, this is, yes, what you're referring to. Exactly. As you can see, it looks like one big bunch of data, and it doesn't retain the same formatting, and it doesn't have the carriage returns that show lists, that sort of thing. The highlighting is something that we've done for presentation to the jury, correct? It's not something that appears in the report in the original. That's correct. Now the notes, how many notes are there in this iPhone? 7. What is the first note? The first note says, oh, the oath, etc. And there's a created modified date, and what are those? Month and year. Those are the created in December 12, 2009, modified February 21st of 2010. On the right-hand side there, is there a packing list? There is. On the right-hand side near the bottom of that note, there's words, packing list, and there's a colon, and there's a list that follows. Are you able to read that packing list? Yes. Okay. Local uniform, tan car huts, black BD belt, $60 uniform shirt, assault rifle with front single point sling, 5 mags, 100 rounds, sleeping bag, pad, cold weather, boots, gloves, etc. Cup and spoon, towel, toothbrush, optional but recommended headlamp. Overwatch, woodland, camo, BDUs, plate carrier with plates, Kevlar helmet, camelback, snack food pouch, mag pouches, and other mole league gear as needed. What's the second note here? The second note is titled Prospective Sons of Gad. And is that note similar to the note we were just looking at? Yeah, in the iPhone that you reviewed in February of 2011, yeah, it's very similar. In the beginning of the note, it has the same key that we observed earlier, but those were different iPhones. Is that correct? Correct. So there's some names included in these prospective sons of Gad that you went over yesterday. Yes. Mike Anderson, Brandon Phillips, Rob Carr, Coleman Barney, Ken Thessing, among others. If we could go to the next page, please. What's the fourth note? The fourth note has a title, Ed Davis, and the phone number. What does the highlighted section say? The highlighted section in the body of the note says, "We hate the feds, and so does the rest of the world." Death to the power. Death to power. What's number 5? What's note number 5? Number 5 says paid for shirt, $60 for the title. And then note number 6. Number 6 says ideas to do. Is that the same idea spelled with an R? Yeah. And we saw on the phone yesterday, it looks identical except for the fact that in this list it doesn't have the list. It has a paragraph because the basic carriage returns were put in this report. What are some of the highlighted items on that? Spaghetti feed, trooper protest, weapons choices, hit list. Now those are some of the same items that were included that we saw yesterday as well. Yeah, they are. What are the dates that are indicating the ideas to do, create, and modified dates are February 10th of 2011, February 5th, 2010. So the modified date is February 25th, 2010. That's correct. Is that different from the notes that we saw yesterday? Yes, that's different from the note we saw yesterday. Now below that, below the section, note section, what's the next section that we see? The next section says SNS messages, and that is a basic, SNS messages, and that is a basic text message. And there's an inbox. Yeah, there's an inbox, and then there's a sent, and then there are some other things that follow that are not related to text messages. So in the box, what does the inbox reflect? The inbox reflects messages that have been received on that phone, not necessarily have been read, but have been received. What's the bottom line that's highlighted there? The bottom line is number 4. The message that was received January 5th, 2010. And the message content shows that it was an error message from a message that had been sent from this iPhone, but had been sent to an incorrect number, and so it was returned to the phone with an error invalid number. Lamero, if we go to the next page, is that the top section where you're talking about that it was not delivered? Oh my goodness. Yeah, the highlighted portion of the message section has the content of the message that was sent incorrectly. And what is that? And what is the content? The content says unit number 1, January 15th, 16th, 17th, are you in? Question mark, and then Schaefer 590999. And so then if you go to the sent section, yes, in the sent section we find a message that was sent to a phone number 322-5635, but in Alaska and everywhere else, when you send a message, you need to have all the digits, including 907, so it won't go through if you just send a 7-digit message, and that's why we had the error message before the incoming section. The message was sent approximately 2 minutes before the error was received, and it has the same content as was reported in the error message that came back. Okay, and so the date again on the sent message was that, January 5th, 2010, and the content says, are you in? And then is there a dash? There's a dash that says Schaefer 5909903. We're going to move now to another phone. I want to show you that what's already admitted in Government Exhibit 213, and this was the LG AT&T phone that seen from Coleman Barney's residence on March 10, 2011. I'm sorry, exhibit number 213. It's already been admitted. Ms. Lamro, do you recognize that phone? Yes, I do. And have you looked at the chain of custody tag on the back of the evidence tag there? Yes, I have. And is your signature on there? It is. And what's the date of the signature on there? I received this phone March 15, 2011. Do you recognize the signature that comes before you in the chain? Yes, I do. There's signatures from the investigator Thompson, Diane Lidner, the evidence custodian in Fairbanks, and investigator Rollo. And who's investigator Rollo? Is it with the troopers? Yeah, he works for Alaska Bureau of Investigation in Fairbanks. Did you do an examination of that LG phone? Yes, I did. And what tools did you use for the examination? I used a Celebrite UFED device. And did you follow the same protocols you discussed earlier? Yes, I did. And what is the phone number of that phone? I'd have a look at the report to refresh my memory, okay? Okay, UFED report. I do have the reports of the LG phone reports. For the record, I'm going to provide Sergeant Wilson with his examination reports from Exhibit 213. Thank you. The phone number for this phone was 907-978-1689. And did you generate a report when you did that examination? Yes, I did. A UFED report? Is that what you call it? Yes, actually I did. I actually generated two, one for the SIM and had to be removed, and one for the phone itself. Let me go ahead and show you what's been identified in Government's Exhibit 782, 783. Do you recognize those items? Yes. These are from the UFED reports that were constructed after the examination of this phone. The government offered the Exhibit 782, 783, no objection times 3. They may be admitted. If you could please look at the 782 first. What are we looking at here in the Government Exhibit 782? And this is a portion of the report that lists the contacts that were on the phone, the address book I also described as. So if we go to page 2, we see the contact entries for Lonnie, Vernon, Sarah, Dave, and Schaefer Cox. Yeah, that's correct. And if we go to the next page, we see contacts for Marie and Bill Rensel, Adam Marchbanks. Yeah. If we go to page 5, we see contacts for Ken Thessing and Lonnie Verdon. Yeah. If we go to the next page, we see a contact for Sarah Barney. Yeah. If we go to the next page, we see a contact for J.R. Olson at the top there. Yeah. And if we go to the next page, we see contacts for Gary Brockman and Joe Nichols. Yeah, we do. Okay, let's look at Exhibit 783. Can you explain what Government 783 is? These are experts from the text messaging section of the report of this for this phone. Reports that include all the text message can be very cumbersome sometimes, and sometimes thousands of messages. And this is a select portion of that. So we've called those specific messages out for the presentation to the jury, correct? That's correct. These aren't all the text messages that were on the phone from Barney's house, right? No, it's not. And can you explain what the different columns mean? What's that first column? The first column is how the report was constructed, placing all of these in sequential order according to the chronology, the date that they were in. As you can see, the date section shows that they chronologically laid out. That's the second column there. The second column, the number column, that's the phone number associated with that. If it's an incoming phone number, then it's where it's coming from. If it's an outgoing phone number, then it's where it was sent. Where, okay, and the name? The name is when there's a list of address book in it that has the name associated with that phone number, the UFED. Report puts those together so that the name Schaefer Cox, and for example, the very first one is associated with that phone number on this phone. So it places that in the phone or in the report so that for easy reference for the person reviewing the report. And then there's a date. That's the date that the sent message was, in this case, was received. And the time as well. The time, yes, exactly, and that is Alaska time there. And then there's a status column. Yes, to indicate whether or not the message has been read by a user of the phone. What's the folder column? The folder is whether it's the inbox, outbox, drafts, and that sort of thing, different places on the phone. And the type, incoming versus outgoing, and the text. And that's the content of the actual message. That's the substance. Yes. Okay. Let's look at the first line there. It indicates an incoming message from December 9th, 2010. And who's it coming from? It's coming from Schaefer Cox, 907-590-90. And what does the text say? The text says, I'm going to court Friday at 3:30 over a weapons charge. It would be interesting considering the recent discovery that the Alaska court system is not a lawful judiciary, but a privately owned for-profit company, DUNS 360-74381. We have lots of evidence. They better have a lot of answers. I'm being their freedom guinea pig, so you need to come on down and bring your friends so they can't pull any sneaky tricks because no one is watching. See you there, Schaefer. A few days later, there's another incoming message text from Schaefer. What does that one say? It says, we need to meet as soon as you can, Major T, and I will work around your schedule. And a couple of days after that, another incoming text from Schaefer. Yes, it says, we are going to go to the calendar call at court at 8:15 a.m. to serve them criminal complaints. We are looking for around 4 guys. So far, we got me, Ken, Joe, Judge, Bartles, and you would round it up nicely if you can make it. The following day, there's another incoming message from Schaefer Cox. What's that one say? It says, don't know, are you at the court? And a few minutes later, what's the next one say? Hide and watch, we are on our way, just need to print some stuff. And the next day, there's another message from Schaefer Cox. What's that one say? Okay, well, that's all right. The spin doctors down at the News Miner didn't help us any today. But I still think lots of people see through it anyhow. It's no huge rush. We just need to make a plan and get it done. I don't think we will have any trouble setting up a powwow. I don't mind calling him. At the bottom line, there's a message from January 8, 2011 coming from Schaefer Cox. What does that one say? It says, get info on how to get yourself out of the statutory system and get back under common law on the assembly post. Call Monday 5 p.m. Alaska time. It gives a number, then a PIN number. Pass this text out to all who you care about. Miss Lamoureux, let's go to the next page. The first line indicates there's a message coming from who? From J.R. Olson. And what does that one say? It says, hey, Coleman, I'll be on the conference call. Also, I will be there Saturday to file my decree of political will. Should I be in uniform for the trial on Sunday evening? And then on February 7, 2011, there's a message from Schaefer Cox. What does that one say? FBI stormed a Washington restaurant yesterday, looking for Kelly Russell. He wasn't there, but now we can't get a hold of him. Prayer call at 2 o'clock Alaska time. It gives a number and a PIN number. A few days later, on February 10th, 2011, another message from Schaefer Cox. Looking to show up to court Monday with a common law judgment and FTC complaint for if they move forward, may need some guys for security, etc. And the next day, what's that incoming message from Schaefer Cox say? It says, Nick's the last message. I'm not playing anymore, but let's send a few recon guys on Monday and make the rest a little extra vigilant. Question, I want to go ahead and show you what's already been admitted in Government Exhibit 149, and which was the iPhone found in Schaefer Cox's living room on March 10th, 2011. Do you recognize that iPhone? Yes. Is that the iPhone different from the other iPhone that you examined? Yes. Is it found in different locations and it's black actually? Do you have you looked at the evidence tag on that phone? Yes, I have. And is your signature on there? It is, in 2 places. And the second signature of yours, what that was dated is that? March 15, 2011, and the signatures that appear before your name, do you recognize those signatures? Yeah. The investigator Joshua Trigg of Alaska State Troopers, Alaska Bureau of Investigation in Fairbanks. Did you do an examination of that iPhone? I did. What steps did you take? I removed it from the network by removing the SIM card. And I placed it on the UFED device to extract the device. And you did a proper report of your examination? Yes, I did. Let me go ahead and show you what you've marked as Government Exhibit 790. Do you recognize that item? Yes. There's a text message from this phone. The government offers Exhibit 790, no objection, 790 admitted. If you could go ahead and show that to the jury, please. By Ms. Lamoureux. What are we looking at Government Exhibit 790? There are 3 of the text messages from the phone. Again, there is not the entire selection of text messages, and it all is the same column except for the last one. There's an additional column where the UFED identified that these messages had been deleted from the phone, but it was able to recover them. We got the first message is outgoing. It yes sent, and it has a date and time. It says GMT, which says that you have to subtract 9 hours to get the actual time on that one. So Alaska time is 9 hours behind GMT. I forgot to set it on the exam. Okay, so you have to set it for the exams. If we back out 9 hours, what time was this sent in Alaska? This was sent just after midnight on 11/24/2010 at midnight at 50 seconds. So the night of November the 23rd, but correct, midnight of the 24th, just after midnight. Okay, and this is going, who is it going to? This is sent to the person in the actual contact list in the iPhone listed as Schaefer Cox, 907-590-9903. So this phone isn't Schaefer Cox's phone. No, this phone was sending a message to Schaefer Cox's phone. Okay, what's the first text say? It says, do we need a watch tonight? And then 26 minutes later, answer correct. There's a response. An incoming phone, Schaefer Cox's phone, says, well, yes, but we have 10 guys in the house. If we all keep a gun close, that is enough, I think. AR-15 at the top of the steps with a hornet's nest. And then there's a following message about 15 minutes after that. Yes, sent back to Schaefer Cox that says, Glock under my pillow, wake me if you need me. Let me go ahead and show you what's already been admitted as Government 152, which are CDs seized after Schaefer Cox's house on March 10, 2011. Please go ahead and take him Exhibit 152 through Exhibits 821, 828. Look at a Government Exhibit 152, the CDs. You recognize those? Yes, I do. And did you conduct an examination of those CDs? Yes, I did. Is there an evidence tag on that item? There is on bag. And is your signature on there? Yes, it is. On what day? March 15, 2011. And do you recognize the signatures that precede yours? Yes, Investigator Joshua Trigg, and again mine, when I had to originally seize this item. Let me go ahead and show you what's already been admitted on its Government 157. Do you recognize that photo? Yes, I do. What do you see in there? This is a portion of sort of off the den of the master bedroom in the residence on the scenic loop, and on the table there on the drawer, there are several CDs on the top, and those are the same CDs that we have here in front of me. The CDs with the skull and crossbones, that's correct. And that's what you examined, it is. Can you explain what steps you took during your examination of those CDs? Yes, I took the devices and I put them in an examination computer, both the CDs one at a time, and I made a copy of them bit for bit, verified that copy, and then I examined the copy rather than the CDs themselves. I have both hardware and software writing block installed on that computer, and no changes were made to the disk in the process. And then I did an examination of the individual CDs, and it was very quick and easier. There were not that many files on them compared to like a computer, so I didn't have to import into Forensic Toolkit software to do a comprehensive analysis. That's very apparent. Just by looking at the CDs themselves, of the copies of the CDs, let me go ahead and have you look at the exhibits 821 through 828. Do you have an opportunity to review those exhibits prior to coming in the court today? I did. And can you briefly identify them for the court, please? Yes, 821 through 826 are all files I found on one of the disks. And the last two items here, 827 828, are the printouts I actually made of the contents of those disks and the actual windows, and show all files that are in there. The government offers exhibit 821 through 828. No objection, no objection, no objection. Maybe admitted. Admitted. Let's go ahead and start with the government exhibit 827. Lamero, what are we looking at here? This is, I made it as big as possible, but it still seems like it's a little bit hard to read. My apologies, but this is a file list of all the files that were actually on the disk. One of the two, the one I designated in the software when I recorded them on the examination computer is this one. And every page of this, and I believe there are 6 on the first one in 827, there's all I'm scrolling through the list of quite a few files on the CD. Then there are all these files that were found in the folder. Then the one folder on that CD. And do they have all roughly the same date modified and date created? Yeah. Do they? Yeah. It starts in the first part of 2006. These are the two middle columns where it says February 2006. That's correct. And as you can see, as it was burning on the computer, it was burning the disk. It puts down the date created times sequentially. So you can see there's different times because it takes a while to burn a CD. As you all know. Sometimes it can take quite a while, but you can see the date it was actually created on the disk right from the list. If we could go ahead and enlarge just the name column, if we're able to, that's great. So this is the directory file listing. Is that right? That's correct. And so right at the top there, what's the second file that we see? The second file says Firearms AR-15 Silencer, and then below that it says Firearms AR-15 MEM16 Conversion Book. And then there's a number of files named Blueprint, yes, and those are relating to firearms. And yeah, almost everything in this is related to firearms. Okay, Ms. Lamero, if we could just scroll down through those Now at the bottom here, there's a blueprint for an SKS drop in full auto gear. Yeah, and then at the very bottom, the last two lines after stop, Sten submachine guns, correct? If we go to the next page, there are more files that are located on the CD, correct? More blueprints related to firearms, yes. And then there's a number of documents titled full auto conversion, yes, for a variety of firearms, many different types, okay. Ms. Lamro, if we could just scroll down, please. Then at the bottom, we get a section improvised, yes, and there are several items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 items improvised. There are improvised silencer document. And then below that, skipping one in a Ingram Mac 10 suppressor document. Yes, if we could go to the next page, there are more files on CD, yes, manuals relating to a number of firearms, yeah, and do these all have approximately the same created modified date? Yeah, in 2006, and they're all within less than an hour of each other. Okay, Ms. Lamro, if we could just scroll down through the manuals, it's a bit more of an hour. It looked a little longer. Within 2 hours of most of these, some later, but all in the same day. Yep. If we could go to the next page, still looking for more manuals. Still looking at more manuals. Yeah, there are a lot of manuals. Okay, that's CD. Keep scrolling down, please. There's a manual for Sten submachine gun. Yes, okay. If we could just go to the next page, at the bottom, there's a document called Tornado Tube Silencer. Yes, firearm Tornado Tube Silencer. And if we scroll down a little bit, there's a document about illegally converting the Uzi to full automatic. Yes, full conversion. And if we keep scrolling down, okay, if we could go to the next page, and if we could scroll down at the bottom, what's the last folder? The last item, second from the bottom, is the Silencer Cookbook 22 Rimfire Silencer. Let's go to Exhibit 828. What are we looking at there? This is the second of the 2 discs and its contents. So this is the directory file listings for another CD that's still within Exhibit 152. Yes. There were 2 of them, and I did an examination and copied the data from and then reviewed. And again, what are the dates of the modified or created? And again, what are the dates of the modified or created? Again, this is the 1st of February 2006, and all those these were burned within a few hours of each other for both dates modified and date created. Correct? If we could enlarge the name, please. The third item down. Anarchist Cookbook 4.14 for the version number. Ms. Lamron, if we keep scrolling down, if we could go to the next page, these are the continuation of the files on the CD. Yes, same CD. If we scroll down, please, there's a name, improvised lockpicks. Yeah, okay. If we could keep scrolling down, and the .rar, is that just an archive? It looks like a zip file. It's on how it's how it was stored on the disk. Yeah, thank you. Okay, if we could go to the next page, if we could scroll down, please. There's some. If you keep scrolling a little bit more, please. Right there is great. There's some, it looks like a U.S. military material, maybe, yeah, U.S. Marine Corps, appear to be manuals of some sort. Your Honor, I'm going to object everything back to 2006. The relevant time period here is 2009. Anything before that is irrelevant. Court, the objection is overruled by Ms. Lamro. Let me go ahead and show you. Let's move to Government Exhibit 821. What are you looking at here? This is one of the files that I found on the disk. I could actually quote the exact file name if I can look at my notes. I independently reviewed this already and saw that it was on the list. This was actually printed out. I printed one of these pages in my report. Let me go ahead and hand you the notes that you made on the directory file listing, which have previously been provided to Defense Counsel. Ms. Hayden, I'm sorry, Counsel, what is the exhibit number? Is that? This is not an exhibit number. This is, okay, his Jinx material, the notes that we made regarding the corresponding files on the directory. Thank you, So this document was taken from the CD found in Schaefer Cox's house. Yes, it was. And more specifically, it was the file named Firearms Full Auto Conversion AK-47 Rifle. Are you able to enlarge the bottom notice there? What does that say? It says, notice, published for the exclusive use of government agencies and Class II manufacturers. If we go to page 3 of this manual, there's an overview section on the right-hand side. Do you see that? I do. Conversion? Yes. What does that say below? It says, overview of conversion to select fire. Now, I'm sorry, where it says to legally manufacture, yes, to legally manufacture a semi-automatic AK-47 or AKM, a minimum of 2 and sometimes 3 things must be done in the following order. 1, secure proper license to manufacture a machine gun from a Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms in Washington, D.C. This is necessary for governmental agencies as well as manufacturers. Okay, Ms. Lamro, let's go ahead and go to the next page. On the lower right-hand side, it says, since May the 19th, 1986. Since May the 19th, 1986, it has been illegal to make, manufacture an automatic firearm except for one or more of the above purposes. Therefore, be advised that if you should manufacture or make an automatic, go ahead to the next page. Firearm without proper license and approval, you are committing a felony and are subject to fine and imprisonment. Okay, let's go to the next page. There's instructions now. Yes, instructions, including a pin plate location for drilling. Have you reviewed the other pages in the manual? I have, and are they generally sort of How-to manual. Yes, this is how to alter the AK-47. Let's go to the government exhibit 822. What are we looking at here? 822 is a firearms full conversion auto kit Colt AR-15 rifle. If we can enlarge the third paragraph, please. Oh, actually, the third and fourth, my apology. Can you go ahead and read those? The only complaint I've ever heard about the lightning link is it converts the firearm to full auto only. I can't see that's a problem. No one says you have to hold the trigger down until the magazine's empty. I found with a little practice it's easy to fire two-shot bursts using the link. Also, keep in mind that it takes only about 10 seconds to install the lightning link in a standard unaltered AR-15 and only about 6 seconds to remove it. Going from semi-auto to full and back to semi-auto is only a matter of seconds. Lamro, if we go to the next page, what's that describing there? It's describing the manual showing the actual mechanism that's being used to make it full auto, and it's has some descriptions underneath on how to construct it, okay, and how is it used. And if we go to the next page, there's more directions there and a diagram with measurements, and the next page, top view with the side view of the device, and the next page, again, more measurements. And when it says the test fire section down below the bottom, it says load 2 rounds in the magazine. The first will fire when you pull the trigger, the second will fire automatically. Check the brass for any problems. If all goes well, load 5 rounds and fire. If all goes well, load her up and let her rip. Let's go to the government exhibit 823. What are we looking at here? 823 with a 823 file with firearms, auto conversion, SKS, and variant assault rifle. On the left-hand side, there's a box there. Miss Lamro, can you enlarge that box, please? What does that say? It says, can an unlicensed licensed person make a machine gun? Generally, no, but in the event, that documentation can be provided along with the application to make a machine gun, which establishes that the weapon is being made for distribution to 1, the United States or a department or agency thereof, or 2, a state or department, agency, or political subdivision thereof. Then the individual will be permitted to make a machine gun. Any machine gun is subject to the NFA, and the possession of an unregistered machine gun could be subject to the possessor to criminal prosecution. If we go to page 7, please, is there another warning there on the left-hand side? Yes, there is. If you'd go ahead and read that, please. Warning, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms has ruled that it is illegal to modify any firearm, that it will fire automatically or to make parts which will make it fully automatic without their prior approval. Note, this booklet is offered for its educational and entertainment purposes. We are not responsible for or liable for the illegal modification of any firearm. Have you reviewed other pages in this manual? I have. Can you generally describe what it's about? Again, it's like the other, giving a step-by-step how to in modifying this firearm. If we could go to exhibit 825, what are we looking at in 825? 825 is a firearms full conversion for a Heckler, Cox, etc. This is freaking ridiculous, man. What's the point of showing all this? Who cares if he was interested in reading information about how to make your firearms fully automatic? You know how many people in America got this information in their house? I guarantee you there's probably thousands, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. You're going to arrest hundreds of thousands of people for having this information? This information don't prove anything. Okay, so this is another document on it is converting to full auto. It is, if we go to the next page, is it talking about steps here? Hold on. Okay, so at the bottom it says assembly order HK3 position full auto, and then Miss Lamro, if we can next page another set of full auto. Okay, adjustments, there it is. Miss Lamro, let's go to exhibit 824. What is this document? This was on a disc, firearms, improvised silencer. What does that first paragraph say? It says the following instructions can be used to construct a simple, cheap, and effective silencer for a .22 long rifle or pistol. This design can be adapted to function for other firearm calibers. However, a threaded barrel silencer junction is recommended for cartridges more powerful than a .22 long range. And then there's a list of materials required, yes, and it's PVC tubing on there. It is 1, 2, 3, and 3, and list of 12 inches of 1.5 inch PVC tubing. And if we go to the next page, additional steel wool and sandpaper, and then there's a section of or on construction, correct? And there's some directions included. Miss Lamro, if we go to the next page, more directions. Okay, and a diagram. Next page, more directions, step by step, how to do this. Okay, so what's the following pages contain? The entire document is about that subject. Let's go to page 7, please. Can you go ahead and read these 2 paragraphs? Certainly. Paint the finished silencer flat black and attach it to your weapon. Proper alignment can be ensured by using a hose clamp around the barrel extension behind the front sight. These tests are described in Silence 222 LR weapons. This silencer can be counted on to function for over 300 rounds before it will be necessary to open it up, repack it with new steel wool and lithium grease. Let's go to Government Exhibit 826. What are we looking at there? This was a disc with file name Firearms Blueprint Sten Mark III Submachine Gun Gun Receiver Bond. So this is the one with blueprints that was on the CD. It is. Can you read the words below the diagram? It says these plans are for educational and entertainment purposes only. All NFA laws apply. I have no other question. No question, no question, no question. Thank you. Maybe a stretch break for the jury first for a document for a moment. By all means, stand and stretch and put a little water down your back if that helps. The government calls Investigator Dunford. If you'll come up to the witness stand. Please just enter the witness stand, stand and face the jury courtroom, raise your right hand, and be sworn. Okay, I do. Please be seated. Okay. Good afternoon, good afternoon. For the record, could you please spell your full name and you spell your last name, Raymond Dunford, D-U-N-F-O-R-D. Where do you work? I'm here in Anchorage with the Alaska State Troopers. What's your current title? I'm an investigator. Talk right into the microphone if you would. You bet, yeah. Investigator Dunford, how long have you been with the Alaska State Troopers? That'd be 11 years this August. And prior to that, what did you do prior to joining the Alaska State Troopers? I worked in technology industry, a system administrator. And what is your current role in the Alaska State Troopers? I work in the Technical Crimes Unit, Computer Forensics. So what are your current duties as a computer forensics examiner? Well, one of the things I do is I work on computers that's come in. I image them, analyze them, prepare reports based on what I find. What experience do you have in computer forensics? Examinations. Well, I've been working here in this unit for about 3 years. I've been through the Secret Service class in Alabama. I've also had a current certification with data access as an examiner. Approximately how many computer forensic examinations have you conducted? I couldn't tell. A good number. Well, a good number. Did you yourself conduct examinations in this investigation? I did. Let me go ahead and show you what's already been admitted as Government 212, which is a MacBook laptop found in the upstairs at Coleman Barton's residence on March 10, 2011. Do you recognize that item? I do. If you could go back ahead and look at the chain of custody tag and let me know if your name appears on that tag, it is. And at what date? On the 16th of March, it shows that I took the item from TCU, which we use as temporary storage for the Technical Crimes Unit, and was a forensic image made of that computer. It was. Did you make the forensic image? I believe so. I have to review my report to make sure, but I believe I did. Okay, would it refresh your recollection if I showed you that? Yes. Report. You have got a number of reports here. It would be the conjunction with 219393. Thank you. Yes, I did image this and I processed it, this item. When you made that image, were you able to verify that the image was a mirror copy of the actual computer? Yes. And did you process the forensic image? Yes. And what did you do with the original computer? Placed it back in temporary evidence storage. And did you conduct a forensic examination of that computer? I don't believe I did. I'd have to check. No, I didn't. Let me go ahead and show you what's already been admitted as a Government Exhibit 279, which is a Dell Tower that was found in Mr. Vernon's residence on March 10th, 2011. Do you recognize that item? Yeah. And is your name on the chain of custody tag? It is. Was a forensic image made of that computer? Yes. Did you make the forensic image of that computer? I believe I did. Again, I have to review my report to make sure. Okay, this is 21392. And for the record, I've handed you your report from case 21392. Yes, that's the sergeant's graph. My apologies, I just pulled it out of the wrong file. Thank you. Do you recognize that as your report? Yes. Okay, did you do a forensic image of that computer? Yeah. And then did you confirm that the forensic image was a mirror copy of the original? I did. And then did you process a forensic image? I did. And what did you do with the original computer? I placed it back in temporary storage. And did you conduct a forensic examination of that computer? No. Let me go ahead and show you what's already been admitted as Government Exhibit 189, which is the Toshiba, which was found in the upstairs of Coleman Barton's residence on March 10th and 11th. Do you recognize, let me know if you recognize that item. I do. Can you look at the chain of custody tag and let us know if your name appears on it? It does. And on what date? On the 15th, 16th of March 2011. And was a forensic image made to that computer? It was. Did you make the forensic image? I believe so, yes. And did you process that computer? Again, I'd have to review the report to make sure. Let me go ahead and hand you a report of case 2212193. Does that refresh your recollection? Yes, it does. I did image and process that computer. And then did you conduct the forensic examination of that computer? I did not. Did you conduct another forensic examination of other computers seized in the investigation? Yes. Let me go ahead and show you that's been admitted in Government Exhibit 555, which is a Dell that was seized from Mr. Thessing's residence on March 10th, 2011. Do you recognize that item? Yes. And is your name on the chain of custody tag? Yes. And is a forensic image made of that computer? Yes. Did you make the forensic image? My report, I cannot look at my report. Okay, to refresh my memory, I'd go right through it to refresh my recollection. It's a report on 21395 for the record. Yeah, okay, thanks. Okay, in this particular case, I did not create a forensic image, I believe. I processed the drive, and then did someone else in your Technical Crimes Unit make a forensic image of that computer? Yes. Is that fairly typical in the Technical Crimes Unit? Yes. Okay, somebody else made an image, and then did you process a forensic image? I did. And then did you analyze that computer? I did. What tools did you use to conduct your examination of that computer? Forensic toolkit? Let me go ahead and show you what's been identified in Exhibits 801 through 811. What number again, please? 801 through 811. And if you could please just review those items, let me know if you recognize them. Okay, I do. Do you review them prior to coming out to court today? I have. Can you generally describe what they are? They were items that I bookmarked in Forensic Toolkit. You can bookmark items of interest for review later, and then all these items that I bookmark upon review of that laptop. The government offers Exhibit 801 through 811. If I could just for a moment, Your Honor, Your Honor, I object to number 811. Yeah, that's already been refused and has not been further identified. If I can inquire further, turning specifically to Exhibit 811, yes. Investigator Dunn, without going into too much detail about it, is there a page included? Is it a 2-page exhibit right now? If you could pull it out of the plastic sleeve. Your Honor, I'm not quite sure the position of the government's monitor again issue. We're totally fine. We have screens on it. You can't see a thing. Okay, thank you. What does page 2 of the exhibit tell you? It tells when this file was created, modified, last accessed. It tells when this file was located. I found it on the drive. And it tells you by the name. It tells you the name of a particular file, and it tells you the type of file it is. Yes, it does. And you seized that off Mr. Thessing's computer? Yes. Pursuant to the state search warrant? Yes. Ms. Lemro, the government offers 801 through 801. Same objection to 801. I don't think it's information. Any other objection? Same objection to 811. We'll join that to Exhibit 811. Your Honor, join the exception. All right. 811 will still being refused. 801, 802, 803, 804, 80. Your Honor, may we be heard on... Wait a minute. Exhibit 811. Not now. I think you offered 801 through 811, but I haven't offered... But I don't have any 805 noted in my exhibit book you gave me anyway. Let me start again. 801, 802, 803, 810, maybe 8, and what about 805? There must be an error in your binder for some reason. It was omitted from your binder. It is in our binders. I hope it's in the defense. Well, it's counsel binders. It's in the exhibit list, and I'm looking at it here. Miss Hayden, I have it. Judge, can you get closer to the microphone, please? Yes, 805 is the one that starts out confidential brief. Yes, yeah, all right. 805 may be admitted. We could go up and pull up the exhibit 801, please. Okay, I'll give you a jury minute to that on their screen. Miss Lamro. And if we turn to page 3 of the exhibit, can you tell the jury what we're looking at there? This is the file information regarding where it was found, its physical size, when it was created, modified, and last accessed. So this is information about the document on the first 2 pages of the exhibit. That's correct. This information wasn't found on the computer like that, correct? We're prepared for that presentation to the jury. That is correct. What does it tell you about the created date of this document? It was created on 12/28/2010. And what is the file name? The file name is contactdocs.docs. Okay. Miss Lamro, if we turn to page 1, we see a list of names and information there. Yes. It includes Lonnie Vernon? Yes. Schaefer Cox? Yes. Mike Anderson? Yes. Coleman Barney? Yes. And there's a number of names that listed together. J.R. Olson, for example? Yes. And then at the bottom, what's the last line say? Additional names from the Liberty Bell list. And if we turn to page 2 of the exhibit, there's a few more additional items there. Yeah, okay, yes, okay. Let's turn to Exhibit Government, Exhibit 802, and if we could go to page 2. Again, if you could tell the jury what we're looking at on this page. This is the same as you've seen before, the date created, modified, accessed, and also the file path and the file name of the particular file. So what's the file name? The file name of the file is updated list of APM contacts in parentheses 2. And it has a created date. Yes, what is it? 12/28/2010, and then it's modified date. Yes, what is it? 2/19/2011. Okay, Miss Lamro, if we could go back to page 1, please. What's the title? Alaska Peacemaker on-call status. Okay, and then there's a list of individuals. Colonel Schaefer Cox with a phone number. Yes, and below that, Lieutenant Colonel Les Zerby, and number 3, Major Coleman Barney. Number 4, Major Ken Thesson. Number 6, Sergeant Lonnie Vernon. Okay, so there's additional names here listed on this on-call status document. Yes. Let's go ahead and turn to Exhibit 803, please. And if we could just go back to page 3, can you tell the jury what we're looking for here? As we've seen before, the created, modified, access date, the file path, the name of the document. Now, the created date is what? The created date is December 28, 2010. Is this the same date created on the last document we saw? The last 2 documents, I believe. Can you explain what the created date means when the file was created? And does that mean does it mean in terms of not necessarily mean the date the document was typed? No. What does it mean? It can mean a number of things. When you see typically, or you could possibly be an explanation, when you see the multiple files that have the same created date, it could mean that they were all moved from one place to another at the same time, so the created date relates to that computer, yes. And the modified date here is January 13, 2010, and the modified date, what is the modified date before the created date? Again, like I said before, it could be that the file was moved from one place to another, that actually the date stayed with a particular file, and the fact that it would have been modified at the time stayed with the file, but the created date would have been changed because it had been created on the computer at the particular time. So some of the information stays with the document, that's correct. If we could go to, what's the name of the file? The name of the file says Thursday the 14th, carpool info docs. If we could go to one page, please. Okay, what are we looking at here? What kind of document does this appear to be? That is, it looks like an email. Okay, and the date of the email? This was Wednesday, 13th of January, 2010, and there's a packing list included, correct. Okay, can you read the packing list at the bottom of the packing list? Local uniform, 10 car hats, black BD belt, $60 uniform shirt, AR-15 with a front single point sling, 5 mags, 100 round sleeping bag, pad cover, cold weather boots, gloves, etc. Cup, spoon, plate, towel, toothbrush, optional, but recommended headlamp, overwatch, BDU, multi-cam. Sorry. You went to the next page. Go ahead. I apologize. Yeah, that's all right. Next page. So optional but recommended items are here on the list of riot. And then it says from the Liberty Bell system. Okay, the court. Okay, I think we better call a halt there since we stopped earlier today. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you to follow my instructions. Don't discuss the case with each other or anyone else. Don't let anyone talk to you about it. Don't look up anything on your own. Don't read or view or listen to any news accounts that may be in the press. And don't do any blogging or communication by computer, email, iPhone, or otherwise. And hopefully we'll have a regular day. I'll work you a little bit harder. Come back at 8:30 in the morning. We're ready to work. You may be excused. The court. Mr. Johnson, I guess you're the one that wants to get out of here? Yes. Feel free. In regard to number 811, I really think it's not been identified as to when it was taken and who took it, what it's picture of. It's floating out there and it's not been sufficiently identified to this point. The photo, Your Honor, if I may, was found on the computer of Thessen's computer, and it has a name and a title and document, includes a date on it, and then also there's on this back the information regarding the modified date and the created date. So we have the information from the JPEG file, and there is what we found. The photo was from the computer. Miss Hayden, Your Honor, we'll still don't know who took it or when it was taken, just like we don't know who wrote the documents, Your Honor. The court. Yeah, well, I think 811 has been sufficiently identified at this point. It's one of those floating documents that's more potential prejudice than it has any other. I think it's taken at the radio or television interview time. That's the title, if I recall. Right, KJ&P, and it needs to be shown with evidence, and I haven't seen it yet. Now, I don't know, maybe there's something I'm overlooking in all this computerese, but it doesn't look very identified to me. I might only say we're going some evidence and awful slow. I think we're mired in details from my view of what I've seen here. So get to the bottom line of each witness as quick as you can, okay? Tomorrow morning at 8:30, all rise. The matter is in recess until tomorrow at 8:30. The court is adjourned subject to call. Proceeds concluded at 3:35. Okay, the judge said get to the matter as quick as possible. We're mired in the details. That don't do any good if you've already been through 5 days of BS, like the prosecution's been putting out. This stuff should have been stopped the first day, the first hour of the first day. But they're just allowed to continue and continue and continue. Just insanity.